I had exactly $32 in my checking account when I totaled his Bentley. It was raining. That lazy spring rain that makes the world look like it's crying in slow motion. I was driving home from my late shift, squinting through the blurry windshield of my battered Toyota Corolla. My hands were trembling from too much coffee and too little food. I remember looking down for a second, just a second, to check the time. And then, the impact. The sound was a sickening crunch. My airbag exploded in my face. The car jerked to a stop like it had hit a wall. I blinked hard, heart pounding, then looked up. And my stomach dropped. A silver Bentley. Sleek, untouched, glowing even through the rain. Except now the back left corner was smashed. My front end was a crumpled mess of plastic and shame. I sat frozen. My scrubs were damp with sweat and rain. My fingers curled tight around the steering wheel. My first thought? Run. Just run. But I didn't. I got out. That's when I saw him. He stepped out of the driver's side like time didn't touch him. Tall, silver hair slicked back despite the rain, wearing a dark wool coat over a charcoal suit. His presence made my throat close. His expression was calm, too calm, as if this was just another Tuesday inconvenience. "Are you all right?" he asked. His voice was low and even, with the hint of a British accent. I think so," I stammered, brushing wet hair from my face. "I'm so sorry. I didn't see—" I couldn't even finish the sentence. He looked at the damage, then back at me. Something flickered in his eyes. Not anger, not pity, something else. "You're bleeding," he said and pointed. I looked down. A small cut on my hand. I hadn't even noticed. "Do you need a hospital?" "No, I'm okay," I said quickly, heart still racing. I had a long shift. I'm a nurse. I wasn't paying attention." He was silent for a beat. Then, "Come inside. It's warm in the car." I hesitated. Was he serious? Before I could answer, he opened the passenger door of the Bentley. Rain poured in around us like the sky was trying to wash the scene clean. I got in. But let me start from the beginning. I'm 22, still renting a room in a shared flat with two girls who use my skincare products without asking. I work nights at a private hospital, not because it pays better, but because I like the quiet. I like avoiding people. Most days I wake up tired, drink instant coffee, and tell myself I'm fine. That morning had started badly. My ex-boyfriend had texted me that he was engaged. I pretended I didn't care, even though my stomach dropped. My phone bill was overdue. My mom asked for help with rent. I was already late for my shift. I told myself, just get through today. I didn't know that by 10:42 p.m. I'd be sitting in a stranger's luxury car, dripping wet, terrified, and weirdly calm. We sat in silence for a few seconds. "I'll call the insurance," I said. "But I don't have— it's an old car." "I doubt they'll cover—" "I'm not worried about the car," he interrupted. "I'm worried about you." That caught me off guard. "You hit me. That's obvious. But I saw you coming. I could have moved. I didn't." "Why not?" I asked before I could stop myself. He smiled, just barely. "I don't know. Maybe I wanted to meet you." "Who says something like that?" I blinked, unsure if I was supposed to laugh or run. He turned slightly toward me. "What's your name?" "Lena," I said. "Lena?" he repeated, like he was trying it on for size. "I'm Richard." Of course he was. He looked like a Richard. "Listen," he continued, "I'm going to have the car towed, but I'd rather you didn't drive that thing home tonight. I can call someone, or I can take you." "No, I'll be fine," I said too fast. "I'll figure it out." He reached into the console and pulled out a business card. His name, a company I didn't recognize. "Take this, in case you change your mind, or in case the adrenaline wears off and you realize your back hurts." He was smooth, sure of himself, the kind of man who was used to being obeyed, but not unkind. I took the card, nodded, and stepped back into the rain. But that wouldn't be the last time I saw him, not even close. I didn't plan to ever use the business card. I stuck it to my fridge with a cat magnet and forgot about it, or tried to. But 2 days later, a letter came from his insurance company. My heart sank as I scanned the paper. The estimated repair cost? More than my student debt. My Corolla had been declared a total loss. And I was Completely, legally, and financially screwed. I stared at Richard's card like it was cursed. Do I call him? Would you have? I mean, what would you do? Reach out to the man whose luxury car you smashed just to say, "Hi, I'm broke, please don't sue me"? I didn't call, I showed up. His office was on the top floor of a modern building in the financial district. Glass, marble, silence. The kind of place that smelled like money and eucalyptus diffusers. The receptionist looked me up and down. I was wearing clean scrubs, the only decent outfit I had. My hair was damp from the wind, and I could feel the judgment in her fake nude lipstick. "I don't have an appointment," I said. "But Mr. Walsh told me to contact him if anything came up." She raised one sculpted eyebrow, then picked up the phone. 2 minutes later, I was being escorted into a room that looked more like a designer lounge than an office. And there he was, Richard, leaning against the window, city lights glowing behind him like he owned the whole skyline. When he turned and saw me, something in his face shifted, like surprise wrapped in amusement. "I didn't expect you to come," he said, motioning for me to sit. "I didn't expect to come," I replied, trying not to stare at the gold watch on his wrist or the way his shirt clung to his chest like it was tailored for him alone. "But I got the insurance estimate, and," I took a deep breath, "there's no way I can pay that." He didn't look smug, he didn't look angry, just calm. "I figured as much," he said. I waited for the rest, the threat, the legal terms, the polite suggestion to sell my organs. Instead, he said, "I have an idea." My eyebrows went up. "What kind of idea?" He walked to his desk, opened a drawer, and pulled out a folder. "I own several companies," he said, matter of fact. "Real estate, consulting, private care clinics. One of them, Westfield partnered, and is in need of administrative support. It's entry-level, flexible hours, temporary, 6 months." I blinked. "You want me to work for you?" "I want you to have a chance to make this easier on both of us. I get someone smart, driven, already familiar with stress. You get a paycheck, and we call the accident handled." I didn't know what to say. My throat felt dry. "This isn't charity," he added, watching my face. "It's a business arrangement. You've already made a strong impression." Would you have said yes? He wasn't forcing me, but he wasn't really offering me a choice either. The alternative was drowning in debt or declaring bankruptcy before I even turned 23. I nodded slowly. "Okay, I'll do it." The next Monday, I started at Westfield. They gave me a desk near the glass wall, a company laptop, and a name badge that didn't even fit on my scrub top. I felt out of place from the first second. Everyone around me wore blazers and heels. I wore sneakers and doubt, but Richard didn't treat me like an outsider. He checked on me once a day, asking how things were going. He never hovered, never made me feel watched, but his presence was magnetic. Like every time he passed by, the air changed temperature. One afternoon, I stayed late to help with a data entry backlog. The office was mostly empty. I was humming to myself, trying not to think about how hungry I was, when I heard his voice behind me. "You're still here?" I jumped a little. "Just wanted to finish this batch." He stepped into the room, loosened his tie, and leaned against the filing cabinet. "I admire that," he said. "Most people don't care once the clock hits 5. "I don't really have anywhere else to be," I admitted, and instantly regretted how that sounded. But he didn't flinch. "Sometimes," he said softly, "neither do I." Something in his tone made me look up, and for a second, we just stared at each other. There was a quiet, fragile tension between us. Not inappropriate, not yet, but definitely charged. Then he smiled. "You want me to order you dinner? My treat?" "I don't think I can afford to owe you more," I joked. He chuckled. "Let's just say it's company morale." And just like that, I said yes. Not because I was hungry, because I wanted more of that moment. And because, whether I admitted it or not, I was starting to wonder what it would feel like to really fall, that for a man who looked nothing like the boys I used to dream of. It started with a phone call that broke me. I was finishing up spreadsheets when my phone buzzed. It was my mom. She never called me during the day, always afraid of bothering me at work. I picked up with a nervous, "Hi, everything okay?" Her voice was shaky. "Lena, it's my heart again. They admitted me to County General." The room tilted. "What? When?" "This morning. They said I might need a small procedure, but they're not sure yet." "Why didn't you call sooner?" "I didn't want to stress you. You already do so much." I wanted to scream. Instead, I just nodded into the phone like she could see it. I left the office without saying goodbye to anyone. I didn't even clock out. When I got to the hospital, they wouldn't let me in right away. Paperwork, protocol, waiting. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. And then, suddenly he was there. Richard, walking down the hallway like he belonged in that world of calm confidence and endless corridors. I stared at him. "How did you know?" He held up my phone. "Your mother called the emergency contact on your work file. That's me." I blinked. He gently put a hand on my shoulder. "Come on, I know the chief of staff here. Let me help." Would you let him? Or would you insist on doing everything yourself, even if you were falling apart inside? I let him. Within minutes, we had access to her private room. A specialist came to consult. Nurses suddenly smiled and offered coffee. It was like he had pressed a hidden button in the hospital and the whole place shifted. That night, after Mom fell asleep, I sat beside her bed, drained. He stood behind me, hands in his coat pockets. "I'll have a car take you home," he said softly. I shook my head. "I don't want to leave her." "Then I'll stay too." I turned around. "Why would you do that?" He looked at me for a long moment. "Because I know what it's like, watching someone you love hooked up to machines, wondering if tomorrow will be different." His eyes softened. "I watched my wife like that," he added quietly. "For 6 months, she passed in October. No kids, just me in the silence." I didn't know what to say. So I stood up, and without thinking, I wrapped my arms around him. He didn't flinch. He just held me. It was the first time I had let myself lean on someone in what felt like forever. Later that night, I finally let him take me home. It was past 1 a.m. when we got to my apartment. I invited him up. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't want to be alone. Maybe I knew exactly what I was doing. I made tea while he sat on my tiny couch, the whole room too small for a man like him. He loosened his tie again. That gesture had become familiar, like a signal that he was peeling back the layers of his armor just for me. "Is your back okay?" he asked suddenly, glancing at the throw pillow behind me. I smiled, tired. "I think I'm still sore from the accident, or maybe from everything else." "I have a trick for that," he said, standing. "May I?" I hesitated, then nodded. He came around behind the couch. His hands touched my shoulders and gentle, warm, careful. "You're tense," he murmured. I exhaled slowly. "I know." The massage was slow, thoughtful, not rushed, not invasive, just present. I turned slightly, looked up at him. Our faces were close now. Too close. "I should go," he whispered, but he didn't move. "Maybe I don't want you to," I said, and then he kissed me. It wasn't wild, it wasn't hungry. It was quiet and deep and slow, like he was asking me a question and I was answering it with my whole body. I led him to my bedroom. We didn't undress quickly. Every motion felt deliberate, unwrapping a secret, not tearing off a disguise. His touch was steady, respectful, exploratory, like he was trying to memorize what made me shiver. And when it was over, we didn't speak for a long time. We just lay there, his hand on my waist, my head on his chest, listening to the rain outside. He fell asleep first. I stayed awake staring at the ceiling, heart thudding. Was this real? Or was I just another lost girl in a moment of weakness? Be honest, would you have fallen too? Because I think I already had. For a while, everything felt simple. I worked during the day, visited my mom in the evenings, and sometimes, not every night, but often enough, Richard would come over. No big declarations, no promises, just warmth, food, late-night wine, his voice in the kitchen asking if I wanted chamomile or mint. It felt safe, until it didn't. It was a Friday. I'd been working from his penthouse. He'd set me up with a quiet corner and a view of the skyline. Around lunchtime, I decided to surprise him by organizing some of the shelves in his home office. Nothing invasive, just rearranging books and tossing out old papers. Then I opened the drawer. Inside, among folders and receipts, was a small leather photo album, black with a worn spine. I don't know why I opened it. Curiosity? Trust? The first few pictures were old, black and white shots of him in college. Then some of a woman. His wife, I guessed. She was beautiful, delicate features, bright eyes. They looked happy. And then I turned to the photo that changed everything. A guy, late 20s, sharp jawline, mischievous grin. His arm was slung around Richard's shoulders. And I knew that face. My chest went cold. No, it couldn't be. But it was. Ryan, my ex-boyfriend, my first boyfriend. The one who ghosted me after 6 months saying he wasn't ready for something serious. The one I cried over like a fool the whole winter break. And here he was, smiling, standing beside the man I'd been sleeping with. "Lena?" I jumped. Richard was standing in the doorway, holding 2 coffees. I slammed the album shut. He saw it in my face instantly. "You know him," he said. "You knew I did," I replied. He put the coffee down slowly. Not at first, but yes, eventually. I figured it out. My voice cracked. "You figured it out and kept going. Why didn't you say anything?" I didn't think it mattered. "Didn't matter?" I snapped. "You're his father, Richard." He looked stunned. "He never told me about you." "Oh, well, that makes it okay?" I laughed bitterly. "I didn't plan this. You crashed into my car, Lena. I didn't pick you out of a lineup." I was shaking. "You let me fall for you. You came to my apartment, you slept in my bed, all while knowing you were his father." His expression changed. Something hardened in his jaw. "And what exactly do you think this is? A conspiracy? Do you think I seduced you on purpose?" "I don't know what to think anymore," I whispered. There was silence, heavy, suffocating. And then he said something I didn't expect. "I was afraid that if I told you, you'd leave, and I didn't want that." My heart twisted. What would you do? Would you run? Or would you stay, knowing that love was already tangled in something far messier than either of you expected? I didn't run. Not that day. I walked past him, down the hallway, took the elevator alone. He didn't follow me. That night I sat in my apartment for hours, staring at the ceiling, my mind spinning. Was I angry? Yes. But beneath the anger was something worse, doubt. Was anything between us ever real? He didn't call the next day, or the day after that. On the 3rd day, I went to work and found my desk empty, literally. My things gone. The receptionist handed me a sealed envelope. Inside, a check, a letter of recommendation, and a note in his handwriting. "You were never a mistake. But maybe I was wrong to believe I deserved you." R. I sat there, in the lobby of Westfield, clutching that paper, tears running down my cheeks while people in suits walked past me like I was invisible. You want to know the worst part? I missed him. I missed him every night after that. His calm, his hands, his strange, quiet understanding of me. I kept thinking, if I hadn't opened that drawer, would we still be happy? But I did, and now he was gone. 3 weeks passed, 3 long, gray, hollow weeks. My mother got better. She came home. She asked about Richard, gently, carefully. I lied. I said it was just a misunderstanding, that we drifted. I didn't tell her I had fallen in love with the man who had held my broken pieces together, and then disappeared with one of them still in his hand. I tried to forget. I even went on a date with a guy my roommate set me up with. He was my age, sweet, talkative, a little clumsy, and utterly invisible to me. Everywhere I went, I saw Richard, in suits on the train, in silver cars passing through intersections, in the way someone poured tea too carefully. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I took out his card, the one he gave me the night we met. I ran my thumb over the embossed letters. Then I called. Voicemail. I left no message. Be honest. Would you have called again? or let him vanish with dignity. 2 more days passed. Then, one Friday morning, my doorman buzzed me. "There's a package here for you," he said. No name. I came down in slippers, expecting some random delivery from my mom or maybe a misplaced Amazon order, but it was a thin white box. No note, no return label. I took it upstairs, hands shaking. Inside was a small canvas, a painting. It was me, sitting in a window, hair loose, wearing his shirt, coffee mug in hand. Peaceful, unaware. He had painted it. It was a moment that had actually happened. One lazy Sunday morning when I thought he was reading emails. And beneath the canvas was a sealed envelope. There's a gallery on 12th and Bleecker. I never show my work there, but one piece went up today. If you want to talk, I'll be there at 6. My heart felt like it might rip open. At 5:58 p.m., I stood outside the gallery. I didn't know what I expected. Apologies, closure, a second chance? Inside it was small and quiet, warm light flickering against exposed brick. A few paintings hung sparsely along the walls. And there he was, Richard, standing alone by a canvas, hands in his pockets, his hair a little messier, his posture less confident. He looked tired. He saw me and smiled. "Hey," I whispered. "Hey," I stepped closer. "You paint?" "Only sometimes," he said, "mostly when I'm trying not to think." "Is this your show?" He nodded. I turned to the painting next to him. It was us. Not a portrait, a metaphor. 2 hands, one wrinkled, one young, reaching across a white void. Almost touching, but not quite. I swallowed hard. "I don't know what we were," I said. "I do," he replied. "We were exactly what we needed to be, until we weren't." I looked at him, at the man I had fallen for, the man who had cared, who had held me without asking for anything. "I hated you for not telling me." I hated myself for it too. Silence. Then I asked the question I hadn't dared voice for weeks. "Why did you really let me go?" His jaw tightened. "Because you deserved a life without shadows," he said. "Not another man with secrets and baggage and broken pieces." I stepped closer. "I don't care about shadows. I care about light, and you were mine." For a second, I saw the crack form in his armor. His hand twitched, his eyes glistened, but then he shook his head slowly. "You're still writing your story, Lena. Don't stop to be someone else's ending." He kissed my forehead and walked out of the gallery. I didn't follow him, not this time. I kept the painting. It hangs in my apartment now. Sometimes when I pass it, I trace the 2 hands with my eyes and wonder, what if? But here's what I've learned. Some loves aren't meant to last. They're meant to shift something inside you, to show you who you are when no one else is watching. So tell me, would you have chased him out of that gallery? Or stood still like I did and let him go, knowing he already gave you more than you thought you deserved?